All right, hang on a sec. Hang on. Let me get back in character.
Okay. Moment of silence. Three, two, one.
Welcome to Debriefing Strahd, the show where we pull back the curtain, dig into the drama, and much like a terrified adventurer in a Barovian alleyway, we drop our guard and our pants, metaphorically only, Sven.
I'm way ahead of you there, buddy.
Yeah, this is like, we're just doing emotional debriefing. So grab your garlic and clutch your holy symbol and prepare to have your narrative unbuttoned in front of the camera.
This, I have my setup in the corner of the house, and this, not unlike Christian last night, this is a pants-free zone. Not last night, the night before. Whenever it was that we streamed the last episodes of Beckoned Blackest Night.
Well, that's not going to work for me because it's debriefing. It's not debriefed, Strahd. Like, if we want to debrief Strahd, we could just upload the transcript.
We can rebrief Strahd? Would that work?
Rebrief Strahd, then debrief Strahd. That'll work.
Debrief. That way, you know, we have some extra content, because there's nothing that I like more than squeezing extra content out of something that has already been just completely squeezed dry of any content of any worth. So if I can turn this into 2 streams for the price of 1, you know I'm going to do it.
Well, that's perfect. So, as always with Debriefing Strahd, we like to have a bit of an icebreaker. And the way we do this is with a dramatic reading. So what I've done is I've made up a little... Here it is. Perfect. I'm going to share this through to your Discord chat, if that will work for you.
I don't know if it will, to be absolutely honest with you.
Where can I send it that you'll be able to read it?
Messenger, maybe? Sorry.
Messenger, I can do that, hopefully.
When let me explain what's going on here. When I do the streams, I pop out a window that I capture the feed from, and I always, and I know that I shouldn't do this, but I close Discord, so it's just the window that's open, just the pop-out window, and the only way for me to bring Discord back up again would be to close the window and then open Discord back up. And I'm not going to do that because it's going to ruin, like, people won't be able to see me.
Do you have a phone?
Oh, yeah, I do. It's over here, yeah. I got one of
I'm
those.
sending it on Messenger, but for next time, I'll just send it on Discord and you can just hold your phone up and read it.
My God. It's like magic.
Technology.
We really live in the 17th century. This is crazy.
Okay, here we go. This play is entitled Sven's Secret Favorite. The podcast studio, warm, pod-like feel, faint tunes humming in the background. Do we have tunes in the background?
We do, actually.
Perfect. Leaning back with a big grin. Oi, Sven, mate. We're deep in Beckoned Blackest Night and Curse of Strahd tonight, so come on. Who's your favourite character and player? Everyone wants to know. Christian's rocking Fujin like a ninja on a bender. We've got Grace with Thana, whipping up chaos like a cyclone in a bottle.
Mate, you know me. Neutral DM all the way. No favourites here. Strahd's fangs would chew me up if I picked sides. Got to keep the peace, eh?
Yeah, right. Yeah, pull the other one. What about Gemma? Gemma's Fritz. Lawyer's a Kelpie with a stick. Or Dan's William the accountant, crunching numbers like a hero. Surely it's William. Or me, Modbrew, as Tane, the rugged bloody legend. Admit it.
All right. That's enough of this. In all seriousness, I got to say something. And this, trust me, it's not in the script. All right. Mod's always roping us into these cheeky skits, feeling like, you know, fishing for a reveal, like a kid with a net in the creek. Warm and playful. Oh, I'm not meant to say that, am I? Not Dan.
So this isn't part of the script. Okay, go.
With William, mate. Great as he is, it's you and Tane. You are my favorite. Absolute honor to be your DM. You bloody champion.
Oh, mate, you're having me on, right? Like, not William, that's a shock. But that's tops. Like, it means heaps coming from you.
No stitch up here, buddy. Serious. Serious as Strahd's glare, you might even say. Oh, and guess what? You're leveling up. And, on top of that, you know what? I'm feeling generous. Here's a flaming Vorpal sword to swing around. Go nuts!
What? Hang on, are you serious? This isn't in the script? That's insane.
Dead set serious, Mod. This ain't part of the skit. You've earned it. You legend. Take it and run.
Mate, oh, so you're serious. I get a level and a magic weapon. What about a feat? Like, I don't want to push it, but can I have a feat?
Yeah, man. Completely serious.
What?
Why don't you just right now go ahead, open up your character sheet and just add it all in. Level, sword, and chuck in a feat while you're at it. You bloody well earned it, mate.
Thanks, man. And scene. Perfect, but I will take that as gospel and I will add it to my character sheet.
It's called acting. You see,
Acting.
I'm not really a wizard. I was just pretending to be a wizard. See, it goes something like this. Sir Ian, you shall not pass. Sir Ian. I know that was convincing, but it was just part of the script because I'm a professional and that's what I do.
I'm trying to think what that's from. I'm pretty sure it's a Ricky Gervais skit.
Extras,
it is. Nice. I love that one. So tonight we were going to be meeting with Gemma and yourself and actually going through Fritz's character. So I thought I'd just read off all those questions and you could answer them for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can should do my best to try and represent my better half.
No. I have one question regarding Gemma. This is one that you were going to get asked on the night anyway. You've referred to the pumpkin. So everyone, just for context, Gemma does a dramatic reading halfway in between, like in the halftime show of our Beckoned Blackest Night campaign, and it's a 10-minute reading from Dracula. But she does it as a pumpkin. Whose idea was it to do it as a sexy pumpkin? And who started calling it a sexy pumpkin?
I'm not above taking credit for other people's ideas or work, for that matter. But no, unfortunately, fortunately, I guess, it was Gemma's idea. It was entirely Gemma's idea. In fact, the whole segment was Gemma's idea. I didn't come up with that at all. I just suggested putting a timer up and having a 10-minute short rest. And she was the one who was like, I think we need to have something in that short rest because I feel like we drop viewers when we're not there. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, what can we do? And that was entirely her idea. So I can't claim credit for that at all.
No, fair enough. And the sexy pumpkin title, because that came out very organically.
Well, it's actually titled Spooky Story Time, but I guess we get a little bit of insight into your view on pumpkins, I guess.
Yeah, no, it was actually said on the podcast, Sexy Pumpkin Time.
Was it? Who said that?
I believe it was Dan.
Well, like we get a little bit of Dan's insights into his opinion on gourds and gourd like
warm pumpkin pie.
Oh no. There's no need to bring up 90s comedy. That's just going one step too far.
Is that 90s? Hang on, we're gonna take time out to work out when.
Is it 90s? It may be early 2000s, but 90s.
1999.
99. Boom! There we go. Justin
I knew
Timberlake.
it was going to be on the precipice because I know what year I was in when I watched it, and I was like, yeah, it's right about there.
I didn't watch it until the 2010s at least.
Oh my god, I am so old. I watched it as it came out It wasn't Video Easy I got it from. It was one of the
Blockbuster.
local video stores.
Oh, one of the
Okay.
no-brand ones that got bought up
The
by
no
Video
brand
Easy.
one, yeah. The one where the porn section was on the front shelf for everyone to get access to.
Yeah, well, that's what people come for, right? So why hide it at the back?
When you're in a mining town, they like their porn at the front and they like their chicken greasy.
It's actually interesting now that I think about it that you bring that up, because I haven't thought about, blockbuster stores in a long time, but they did just have the porn section just somewhere like in a corner. It wasn't sectioned off. It was just like,
that was an American thing. Australia was just like, fuck.
we're not going to pay extra for a blind. We're just going to put it over there in the corner. So yeah, I actually remember like walking past it 7,000 to 8,000 times as a child. So it's interesting. And
there was the best things. Like we always went there and had a laugh at all the titles because it was like Jurassic Pork and Flint Bones and all these like pun names, because the old porn movies used to have really good names.
Yeah, that could teach me a thing or two about titling episodes, because I just gave up on titling episodes. It's just episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of Beckoned Blackest Night, because...
Yeah, you need to fix that. Titling episodes is fun.
Titling episodes is fun, but it's also really hard work. I don't know if you caught it. It took me... I think it's taken me 2 days to get the editing done for last Monday's episode. Just because I've gone, a little bit more in depth trying to clean up the audio a little bit, and there was a lot of feedback in Monday night's episode, so it took a lot of work. If you could see how many cuts and edits there were on that thing, it was like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, but not as successful or as industry defining.
Could be. I'm excited to see what we do. I'm just waiting for... I'm excited. Oh, I sound very echoey.
Do not, and I repeat, do not do what you did to Grace to me, because I will end this stream so quickly.
I would never do that. I was just saying I sound echoey. Okay, there we go. So, I'm going to quickly jump on to some quick questions.
Let's not make them quick. Let's really drag them out. I want to make this episode last.
There we go. No, don't be silly. So, what's been your favorite interaction so far?
Are we talking about like my interaction with other people or character interactions?
No, we'll go back even simpler because I skipped a question.
Okay.
Well, not really a question, a section. So, we started in a tavern. We all met up with a group, and then were giving a job by Argal to go off and find a house and get rid of a haunting. We head off, we have some interactions in the mist, we avoid the mist and get into a house. Now this house, we've been talking about it forever. We go in there, go into one level, there's another level, find a few secrets, ambushed by a ghost, do some other stuff, ambushed by a ghost, fought a broom, things are happening, and I'm just chilling out. I've avoided Strahd my whole life. And I'm sitting there listening to a podcast that had come on after another podcast. And they're like, this is the one shot. And we're going to be doing the murder house. And they started talking about the murder house. And they started saying a few things. And then I was like, oh my fucking God, I'm in the murder house. So I turned the podcast off instantly. Sven, you didn't tell us we're in the murder house, you motherfucker. I've never heard of a murder house before. This is a new thing for me. People, there is a thing called murder house in Curse of Strahd.
First of all, they are misrepresenting Wizards of the Coast. It's not the murder house. It's the death house. All right, so let's clarify that to begin with. It's called the death house.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. Second of all, the idea that someone would run the Death House as a one-shot? Ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. There's no way you can get through that content as a one-shot, and if you can, the content sucks. I'm sorry. But it does.
No, fair enough. As soon as I'm sitting there, and then they got attacked by at the time I didn't know we were fighting a spectre. You said it the other night. Up until then, I've just been calling it a ghost. And they were just like, oh, yeah, got attacked by a spectre, yeah, it does this, and roll a con save. And I'm like, this sounds familiar. And then there was this animated broom, and I'm like, oh, yeah. And then they started talking about the Death House. And I was like, okay, a lot's lining up. And they're talking about the stairwell. So I actually pick up my phone and look at the one-shot, because I'd just been listening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a very similar map. And I'm just like, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. Spoilers.
I didn't want to learn anything. I don't want to break. I don't want to have any spoilers. You only get to experience Strahd first one time.
Unless you got,
and I think you should do that watching Beckoned Blackest Night.
If you have some kind
of
like
want to waste it.
Short-term memory loss or something like that, you could probably play it a couple of times and really enjoy it. By the way, Lost Archives, we see you. Thank you for the raid and the 14 viewers. This is Debriefing Strahd with the host with the most mods, Mod himself.
Oh, I'm on top this time. I'm on top, people. I'm on top of the world.
It's where you belong. Just for one.
But yeah, so we're just going through. For those who've just entered, we're going through. We're doing a debriefing session where we're actually talking to the DM about the thing. We just finished a skit that you guys missed, and we will now reenact again. It's a 6-minute skit. And look at the numbers drop. I'm sorry, Sven. I ruined your channel. But no, we're debriefing Strahd. We're pulling down the pants and we're getting to the holy symbol and finding out what's going on. So the next question I got for you is actually a question that you and Gemma are going to answer for me. And you don't have to answer this question if it's going to reveal anything. But in episode 2, we had Fujin bust into a room with some petrified wolves and whatnot. And he went to town stabbing wolf statues. And Fritz went out in the hallway and threw up. Now, we've become aware that Fritz's storyline is trying to find her pet Bright Eye's family. Have we actually confirmed that was Bright Eye's family that were petrified or whatever? Taxidermied?
There's never been any clarification on what the relation between those wolves and Bright Eyes could possibly be. I think at this point it would be pretty clear to your characters that this house has been empty in its own special way for quite some time. So it would be unlikely to think that these wolves are directly related in any way to Bright Eyes. Now, I think I did mention that they did bear a very similar marking.
You did mention that.
A very similar and rare stripe down the back, color. I think and
I checked their IDs.
He checked their IDs. It was Mr. Bright Eye Senior and Mrs. Bright Eye Senior, and there was
Senior, yep.
There he is, Bright Eyes Junior. No, it's they're not, like, I can say this, they're not directly related to Bright Eyes, but what the connection there is, I mean, is yet to find out.
Fair enough. That's all right. Now, we've covered, obviously, I'm your favorite. But apart from me, what has been your favorite part of the campaign so far as a DM to actually be in control of? Was it Aragol at the start where you got to play with us all? Was it just thinking of how you're going to move us around the house and how you're going to pull those levers inside the house and what's going to happen when? For
me, it's a difficult question to answer. It definitely wasn't the first episode. That first episode was rough. It had been a long time for me between DMing, especially live on stream, and a lot of work to do. Not like DMing in itself is a lot of work, or the prep work and all that kind of stuff. But when you're trying to present it as entertainment, it adds a whole nother layer of complexity to things, especially when you're producing at the same time. So for me, that first episode, it felt very rough around the edges. But I was just trying to ease myself into character. I don't think I did the character of Adigal justice. But
Yeah.
I didn't. That's not to say that I didn't enjoy it. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. Don't get me wrong.
I actually know nothing about Strahd.
Mhm.
Is Aragal a traditional character, or is that one you added in?
Adigal is a character that is in the campaign. I have I've played with it. I played with his character a little bit. I've changed some things around. I've made things a little bit more my own version of that character, but he is in the book.
Cool.
But to answer your question, I think for me, a couple of the standout moments, I know that this might be a bit controversial. I really enjoyed the moment in the mist. That was something that I really, really enjoyed. I enjoyed that whole episode. Had a blast doing that one.
The mist was good.
And, you know, time will tell whether or not that resonates with the audience. But I also, and I've been waiting for this for the whole time. Last Monday's roleplay with Rose and Thorn. I mean, that is why I play D&D, and that's why I stream it, to do for those moments. Because I really try and squeeze the emotion out of things, and I'm still getting used to it again, still finding my groove, but I felt like that scene, I was getting there.
No, see, the with you touched on it then, why we stream. For me, why I stream and why I like to do stuff online is because I used to do about 40 hours a week of driving plus 40 hours of working, which added up to a lot of time on the road and with headphones in. So I went through a crazy amount of content. I was always searching for content, and I always figured if I'm doing D&D, I'm going to record and upload it. If there's anyone crazy enough out there that has done Critical Role and they're waiting for episodes, because I used to be at the press every single Dungeon Daddies, all those. I was up to date, and as episodes would drop, I'd listen to them, and then I'd just sit there waiting for more episodes. So I make it for that. And Debriefing Strahd, people, this is a show for those that, like me, cannot get, like, I have one D&D session a week, and it has to last me for the entire week. And the time between the end of the episode to the start of the next week episode is like torture. So this is my way of sort of putting a notch in it and just getting a little bit more excitement out of it, and learning about the motivations of my friends and compadres on the mission, and getting into Sven's head and finding out the secrets. So I thought I'd share something with you. Okay, this is something I wrote for Tane, and I was thinking we could turn it into like an epic. Do you have any epic music that you could play in the background?
I have something that I might be able to bring up. Right now I'm just playing a little bit of lo-fi background music for those people who are at home. By the way, make sure you leave a message in the chat and I might read it out in next Monday's episode of Beckoned Blackest Night. But what kind of music are we looking for here, man? Because I can load something up for you.
Epic music. So I want like dramatic, epic, like a trailer.
Yeah, man.
Something like, oh no, it's not working. No. What has happened? My gunshots aren't working anymore. There we go. Something epic.
All right, man. I'll bring that up for you. Why don't you vamp while I bring that? Because I know the exact track that we need.
Tane's story is he is an orc and he is the son of bards. So he is basically grown up in a horrible place where many people were getting murdered. His parents were warriors, but every night they'd regale him with stories to fill his heart with hope. Now, which has led him to become a paladin. Which way he'll go into paladin craft, we don't know. Oath of Devotion, Oath of Glory, somewhere around there. We are playing on 2024 rules, which means they're pretty OP. If any people are upset with the paladin changes, a lot of people are upset with the smite changes. Those people are stupid. It's awesome.
All right.
It's great.
I got something for you.
Good to go?
Just give me 2 seconds because I've got to do something real quick here. Okay.
You're right, man.
Okay, gotta start that. Gotta find it.
You can just play it in the background.
That's playing right now. Go for it.
Okay. Growing up on tales of heroes and... Hang on, I want to do the voice. I'll do the voice now. Growing up on tales of heroes, champions of justice, protectors of the weak, and leapers of very large distances. My parents swore every word they told was true, and who am I to doubt them? A hero never fears to act, and neither will I. I am Tane Nui, sworn to stand against the darkness, shield the helpless, and let my deeds speak for themselves. If the world lacks legends, then I will become one. And if my stories are exaggerated, well, that's just a family tradition.
Thank you to tabletopaudio.com for that audio. And thank you, Mod,
Lovely.
for that epic piece of cinema.
Thoughts?
The only thing I could think of while you were saying that is how long have you been waiting to say that?
I haven't been waiting to say it, but I did want to share it on this episode.
All right.
I wrote it in case we needed to do like a instead of just having the intro music playing, actually have it go through the characters' backstories.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, we could make little intros so that instead of just having music and then going in, people, this is always a work in progress. We love D&D, we love talking about it, we like making content. So we have the opening titles of Beckoned Blackest Night, which I still think we should call Beckoned Bleakest Curse, so we can hashtag BBC it.
Not happening.
But have the background music, and then when you do the transfer, it starts a video, which is the character intros. That way, anyone that's never seen it before will be like, that's the paladin.
Do you mean like good channels, successful channels do with their content?
I think the Not Another D&D podcast do it best, where they try and come up with a new intro every week. Like everyone has to have like 2 lines about their character, and they just keep changing it. I like that.
Okay.
But I think that's too much effort for everyone. So having one that plays from a recording is much easier.
Yeah. Look, I have a character flaw, and that character flaw is if someone else does it and it works, for some reason I don't want to do it. It's just like it's
He says
something...
while running a Curse of Strahd campaign.
Wow, I mean, come on, like how many people have run a successful Curse of Strahd campaign? Like I've never seen one, and that's I think that's the most important part is unless I've seen it. If I haven't seen it, then it's all right. To me, it's okay. But I know what you're talking about. I only mention it because like I know that you told me a little while ago that you wrote an intro for your character, and then I never brought it up again, and I never gave you the opportunity to say it, and it's been in the back of my mind the entire time. So
It's okay. Like it was more just for this exact purpose.
Oh well, the people at home enjoyed it, and I certainly did. No, that's good. I like that level of thought into not only characters and character development, but how you can take this character and make it like an entertaining thing for people at home to watch that can really grab their attention. So I love that sort of thing and would encourage everyone to do it. Not just when they're streaming, and not just in this campaign, but every campaign at home. Surprise your DM. Come to them
Always.
with something like that, like a script like that. They will thank you for it. Unless it's me, and I'll just be unnecessarily mean about it some.
That's right. Mean doesn't affect me.
That's
where is this?
why I have you on here.
Alrighty. So, this is actually an episode where we will talk some DMing stuff, but we will also talk some Tane stuff.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm here for.
So, what I would like to sort of propose is that we will actually talk a little bit through each of the characters and then talk about the future of the campaign without giving away any spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Tane is very excited to meet William, very frustrated that William's not casting spells because he is an accountant. Fujin's character is an amazing monk that is monk rogue that's kicking the shit out of every inanimate object he can find.
Mm-hmm.
We actually I think we had more role-playing last episode than we have had the rest of the season, which was interesting. That was great. Because I'm going to give you a compliment here. I'm going to say and not just you, the team, we did have a child death, or dealing with the death of 2 children in this campaign. It is a bleakish campaign, and you dealt with it well as a DM, and the rest of the group dealt with it well in a role-playing sense. Like I couldn't imagine that actually coming off well ever. I didn't, literally we just got to a point where we were all killing ghosts, and then 2 kitty ghosts pop up in front of us, and every single person restrained themselves from killing them. And Christian actually said, hey, I kept my character facing the wall because my character would have killed them if he turned back.
It's complete 180.
Yes.
In regards to the progression of the story. You come into this house, it's like, and this is like the great thing about Death House and why it's, I think it's popular, but also a little bit controversial at the same time. It goes flip-flops backwards and forwards, and always has you guessing about what's going to come up next. And I think that's one of the fundamental tentpoles for horror and thriller and D&D, right? You never want things to be predictable. You always got to have people unsure about what's coming next, because the moment it gets predictable, it gets boring. You come into this house, first 2 levels, there's nothing, right? It's basically just a house. Get to the 2nd level, it flips. All of a sudden, the broom's attacking you. There's a suit of armor that attacks you. Then there's a specter that attacks you. And then you get to this room, you're all fired up about these combats, and you come across these ghosts, but it flips it over again. Because these ghosts aren't hostile, right? And you would be forgiven for as soon as you see these ghosts just going at them, you know what I mean? And the way you guys handled that situation was exactly how I wanted it to go. I know as a DM, you really shouldn't have any specific way that you want a scene to unfold. But I wanted to roleplay those. I already admitted that to everyone. I wanted to roleplay those characters so damn much. So you gave me the opportunity to do that, and I'm very grateful for that. But there are always contingencies written into things. Every good D&D campaign should have contingencies. You should be aware that things might not go the way that you want them to go. And by God, did I have plans for if things did not go the way that I want them to go. And again,
I call them levers.
Speaking to how well Curse of Strahd is written, these contingencies are actually written into the book. Not many campaigns give you contingencies. They sort of just say, here's the thing, this is what happens, that's the end of it. This one has contingencies written into it. So that scene could go either way. And as for...
so it literally says, like, if they kill the kid ghosts, this happened. If they do this, this happens. If they do that, like, that sort of contingency?
Sort of. It has, like...
Because I've heard a lot of people say Curse of Strahd shouldn't be run to you're really experienced, but it sounds like it's got a lot of information that can make it possible to run if you're not experienced.
Sometimes I think being not experienced is actually a boon to people. I feel like people who have 20, 30 years of experience sometimes are so set in their ways that they can't see something that is different, that is presented differently, and see it as being something different. I know I'm having a really hard time explaining to that, or explaining that properly, but it is, yeah, no, to answer your question, yes, it's written in there to an extent. It says, for all intents and purposes, this is what they want, but they will do this, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's taken into account. It can go one way, it can go the other way. Thankfully, you guys approached it with a little bit more of acceptance, I want to say. A little bit more... I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for. Like, you didn't immediately go to combat. Oh, this is a threat. We need to get rid of this threat. And you would be forgiven for thinking that because you just killed a specter outside. For me, last episode was very interesting, particularly with Thana's character.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so something that I'm going to have to talk to her about, especially as well, because this whole time she's been, undead is bad, undead is bad, undead is an abomination, it needs to get destroyed, it needs to get gotten rid of. And then you come to this situation, and here are these undead, but they're not bad, are they? And she actually felt bad for them. But that goes against everything that she's ever been told. Her very foundational beliefs.
Yeah, no, this is what I was talking to her and the thing, like, her character is on a pilgrimage and she is changing. She's already had three things happen. She also held her symbol up to the mist and had the mist actually approach it rather than be repelled by it, which is another thing. So she is having a tough time adjusting, which I really enjoy. Like, you get to see character change.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got a lot of characters set to do a lot of changing, which is great. Like, I love that. So on that, how do you feel the mood and the pace of Strahd's going so far? Like, has there been a few times that you really felt like putting the boot up the players, or have you been trying to throttle them backwards so they're not moving through the room so quickly? I felt bad with Tane trying to run up the stairs while everyone's trying to investigate the rest of the house. But that was one of those things. It's like, it's what my character would do. Because as far as he's concerned, the lights on are upstairs. So he's gone up to save people because that's where the ghost went. And it's just one of those things. But how do you feel about the pacing?
Pacing is a really personal thing. There will be people who watch this and who will say, like, I
know that. That's why I'm saying, how do you feel about the pacing?
Yeah, I'll get there. Let me preamble, all right?
I'm moving the pace of this question along.
No. It's a personal thing.
I'm in control here. I'm taking a level. You've lost a level of DM, and you won't get it back until you answer my question.
And I will drag this out. I just got permission to drag this out. That's what that short... I can take as long as I want to, all right? I've got all night. I don't care if you need to go to bed and go to work tomorrow. I don't. Okay? So I'm going to take as long as I want with this.
You can come with me while I work.
I'm going to go all the way around. I'll talk here by myself. I don't care. Look, I shouldn't do that. Where was I? Pacing is a personal preference. There's going to be people who hate the pacing of this. There's going to be people who love the pacing for the... I think we're so early on in this campaign, we are still finding our feet. The pacing sometimes feels slow. Sometimes it feels like we're moving a little bit too quickly. I think we're at a really good pace here. Like I said earlier, someone who runs Death House as a one-shot, I think you're doing it wrong. Okay? Horror, specifically, needs to be at a relatively slow pace. Okay?
Yeah,
If you're
I
not
agree
taking
with
it
that.
slow, and I'm taking it slow, and I realize that, I am aware of that. People can get this done in 3 or 4 sessions, maybe. 3 sessions. Yeah, why not? People can do that. But are you really gonna, is it gonna stick with you? You're gonna really feel that 25 years from now? You're gonna tell your kids about that experience? Get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna drag this stuff out because I want to explore every single, like, ounce of horror and tension and emotion. I want to squeeze, I want to rinse all that out of this as much as I possibly can. So for me, I think the pacing's good. We're still finding our dynamic as a group. And as for like you running upstairs and thinking that, you know, it's what my character would do. Some people think that that's a bad thing. And a lot of the times it is.
Oh, I
But
don't.
we are
I fully stand by it.
we are so experienced and like comfortable with each other that I want you guys to make those kinds of decisions. Make the decisions that your character would do, and don't be mamby-pamby about what the consequences of that could be. Because whatever happens, we're gonna make sure it's a good story. That's what matters to me the most.
You don't warn Gemma, but I'm going to hit her up for that because at that time when I ran up the stairs, I tried to make it clear, like, hey, you don't have to protect me. Like, this is what my character's doing. If your character would stay with those people, that's what you should do because that would make sense to your character. If that's what your character's about, that's all good. Like, it's not like if I could run up there and die, I'm 100% fine. If I run there's 6 specters and they all kill me, fine with that. That's just how the dice roll, baby.
She is 100%. She's 100% aware of that.
Yeah, I know, but this is where she gets in trouble because she said, no, I want to go with them, but my character wants to go with you. And I was like, well, fuck you, Gemma. Fuck you. Choosing them over me, you pumpkin bitch. Oh, I'm angry now.
I'm going to tell her to rewatch this episode.
You're going to hurt my feelings, Gemma.
Look,
no, but
in her defense, I think she's saying is her
exactly.
tactically it makes sense to clear a room before you go up to the next room. But like her character's all about helping and defending other people, so of course she's going to go.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I actually think she meant exactly that. But when it came out, she goes, "No, I want to go with them, but I'll do what my character wants to do. Like I don't want to be with you, Mitch."
Yeah, what she was really saying is she doesn't like you personally. But your character, she's fond of that.
My character has a lot of charisma. He's got 20 charisma. So I get that.
Does he?
He does.
Does he? My God.
He does.
You're gonna have to really step up your.
I was giving you a chance to when I was running up the stairs. I was giving you a chance to kill him off because once he gets to like level 6, I think it is, he's gonna be no fun in this campaign.
And I will.
No matter what subclass he takes, he's going to be a pain in the butt. So, next question. If I die, can I come back as a moon druid that's actually Bright Eyes?
Like as in like a wild shaped person that's Bright Eyes?
Yep, just out of nowhere, Bright Eyes stands up and says, well...
I don't think Jen will be happy if I let that happen. I don't think she's gonna be on board for that one.
Fair enough. But no, just so you know, Moon Druid is my next character. Shotgun. That's if mine dies. All right.
You mean when?
We've done the balancing horror and fun. I think we've done a good balance of that. Like we've had a lot of jokes, a lot of fun times. A lot of character development already, which is crazy. Have there been, we just spoke of one with Thana, has there been any character development or decisions from the get-go that have thrown you? Like, for instance, one that I can give you of is Thana's changing. And then also William's non-spell casting.
Well, I'll tell you this. Grace's character Thana has changed, but that hasn't thrown me. That doesn't surprise me at all. I knew from the very get-go that was going to happen. I could have bet money on that horse because I know what Grace is like as a person, and there was no way that she was going to be able to keep up that facade with the things that I was going to throw at her. So I already knew that was going to happen. Let's just put that out there. But as for the level of commitment that Dan brings to playing a sorcerer who does not know how to cast spells, that has surprised me. I think we spoke about this on one of the early episodes of Debriefing Strahd, so you can go back and watch them all and find that. But I said that Dan has great etiquette as a player. I didn't know how deep that actually went because he is committed to that bit to an extent that I feel envious of. Because I commit to my terrible characters and the terrible decisions that I made, but he's made a fantastic character with this flaw, and he is committed to it. And that would actually be, I just want to point this out, what he's doing would in 99% of games be absolute shithouse. I would hate that. But because it's in this game with these people, it is phenomenal. There's that feedback again.
Yeah, no, I just heard it then. Was that me or was that you?
I'm not sure. I don't think it was me. There shouldn't be. Maybe it's playing on my phone. No, it shouldn't be. I don't know. Maybe it is me. I don't know where it's coming from. I can fix it in post. Don't worry about it. But as far as character development goes,
I'm going to do a quick sound check because my headset then, when I was.
As far as character development, yeah, it's definitely coming through from you.
Oh, I was just playing the sound because I sound super echoey on the stream.
Okay, all right.
I don't know why that is.
Well, you sound like you normally sound to me. I don't know what it sounds like on the stream, but it's just normal mod voice to me. So I think it should be pretty okay. That's one thing that I really want to get sorted out, though. I know that I'm being picky, and I know that most people are like, don't worry about it, just have fun. No, I'm a perfectionist, and I want everything to be perfect. I want to get the sound to the top possible quality that it can be.
I agree. That's why I think we should start using our pre-game talk for sound checks rather than just chit-chat like we normally do. I do love chit-chat.
Yeah, I enjoy a bit of chit-chat. While you guys are talking, I'm watching the Jawnski. The only problem is, I'm DMing and I am producing at the same time, and I don't really have that much experience with fixing it on the fly. I can fix it in post when I'm doing the editing for uploading later on.
Fix it in pre. So do a sound check in pre, record it, get everyone to talk their voice, do everything. So the mistakes and the feedback and everything is minimal as possible, and then your work at the back end of the episode is less.
Do it, yeah. I guess.
So the more setup you do, the less work you do at the back end.
That is true. That is true. That is something that I definitely should be doing. I think I did it on maybe one or two episodes at the beginning, and then I got really lazy with it and stopped doing it. But it also comes down to a lot of personal accountability in regards to your setup and all that kind of stuff. I want people to have fun, and I'm not talking down on anyone, saying anyone's doing their own thing.
The thing that bothers me is when I record, my sound's perfect. When I go through Discord, it's not, and I can't work out what's going wrong because I can't hear myself on the other end. So I need to spend time with people on Discord, with them going, turn this up, turn that down, adjusting. But we're going to get back to it because I'm going to actually go. Do we still have the epic music playing?
No, we don't. I've gotten rid of that.
Okay. We don't need the epic music, but I will put you in the DM hot seat.
I'm there.
You ready for this? I'm going to bring the heat. All right, here we go. Do you want to stop the music so you can add in epic music later? No, you're right. Okay, you ready? This is actually gonna be hard questions, okay?
All right.
Like you said,
okay.
I'm gonna make you take that chance.
Okay.
Certainly. Why, I wouldn't
Is there something that happened in session 0 that made you think, fuck that person, I'm not going to let them do that? That's going to screw up my game. Were you worried about Graves playing a barbarian or me playing a warlock? Or Christian min-maxing to do some crazy combo that makes the game unplayable? Is there something, because you were coming back to DMing, was there something you were afraid of messing with the game?
Not for the most part, no. But you did hit the nail on the head when it came to Christian's character creation. I knew I was taking a chance by bringing him on. I love Christian and I love what he does, but he has been playing D&D professionally to such an extent where he knows exactly what to do to make the most efficient characters that you can make in D&D. He knows all of it.
He's a clever cookie, to be sure.
And I knew that was going to be something that I was going to have to deal with. But at the end of the day, I wanted a team of people who I love playing with. So I was going to bring them on board. And I don't regret that decision at all. It does make combats very, very difficult. And that's why I'm really, really careful when you guys are moving around a hostile environment, that I try and slow everyone down so I can separate people. And you're not always in the most advantageous position that you can be when a combat starts. So I can kind of level that out a little bit, I guess, is the word that I'm looking for. But that's probably the only thing that, on session 0, I was like, oh, God, it's like, I know this is going to be a difficult thing to deal with, but it's worth it at the end of the day. He really likes to push the mechanics to the absolute limit. And that's what he enjoys doing. And that's, I think, last time we did Debriefing Strahd, I said we have a really good mix of players. Some people who aren't concerned with the mechanics of the game at all, and then people who are on the other spectrum who love finding ways to make all the different numbers work together to make the most efficient. No. And Christian's on that side, and then you're right in the middle, because I know that you can do it as well. I know that you have that knowledge to be able to make absolutely broken characters, but you also love role playing, so you're around the middle. If
you've got a character that can do everything, they don't get to role play failure, which is my favorite part, because I don't get to fail in real life. I just fucking rocket everything. So I know what it's like to have 20s in all my stats.
Succeeding at everything.
I have to deal with that. Oh no, my wife's too hot. I make too much money. My life's too awesome. My kid's just cured cancer again. And then
it must
I come
be hard
to D&D to see what it's like to roll a 1.
To just be an average Joe, just for one night a week. You can just feel what it feels like to be the rest of us. And I'm grateful for that.
Well, I was actually, when you started that response, I thought you were going to say, at first I was worried about Christian, optimizing a build, but then I realized I've got a wizard sorcerer that can't cast and a cleric that won't heal. You guys are fucked.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I was like...
That's the balance,
man.
It's
a good mix. It's a good mix, and I'm really enjoying it. Question 2 of the hot seat.
All right. My pants are already feeling on fire.
Is there a moment, and I think I might know the answer to this one as well, is there a moment where you just hit a wall when it came to the flow of that episode? And as a DM, did you overcome it, or did you just grudge through it to the end of the episode and get energy the next one?
Good question. I felt pretty good for most of the episodes. For me, the hardest episode was episode 1. I struggled with that.
That's different than what I thought you were going to say.
Okay, what did you have in your mind? What were you thinking?
Well, after episode 3, which is the one that we started with the fight with the Spectre, after that episode, the next day you messaged me and said I wasn't feeling it. I fucked that up. It was horrible. And I was like, dude, it was awesome. What are you talking about? and you were really down on yourself. And I thought that might have been one of those ones where you got stuck in the session, like, oh, combat. And I took it back to that bit where you're like, I attack, and it's like, I provide protection, I reduce damage, and everyone's sort of getting up and just beating the shit out of the ghost. And I thought that might have been one of those situations where you're like, oh, okay, we don't want them all standing together when we fight because they have unlimited protection, which would have fucked your day.
Yeah, no, now
And
that I
this
think
isn't
about
me
it,
having a shot. This is me responding to you being down on yourself. My read of that was that you didn't enjoy that episode as a DM because you were restricted by 5 people beating the shit out of the monster you were trying to make scary.
no, that's not it. For me, that episode, I think if you go back and have a look at it on YouTube, the episode that you're referencing was the episode where we had like 20 minutes where the audio wasn't working. And there was a whole bunch of other things. And when you start a stream, when you start an episode and right off the bat everything's going wrong, it's really hard to find your way back from that. The actual episode itself, like the DMing, the playing, I didn't have an issue with that at all.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was wondering whether it was that, because that was also the one where we took away your surprise attack.
Yeah, no, and I was fine with it. I didn't have a problem with that at all.
I think that should stay in it.
It was mechanical stuff on my end, and there was also when Grace was arriving late, and then the cameras were out of whack, and then the audio wasn't working. And when you start off an episode like that, it's really hard to bring yourself back. And I am my own worst critic. If someone else messes something up, it's not a problem. I don't have any issue with that whatsoever. I'm very, very forgiving. But if I make a mistake, I will not sleep until I've, gone through that mistake 10,000 times in my head. I didn't sleep that night. I think I had maybe 1 hour of sleep or something like that. And then I messaged you in the morning, and that's when you got that message when I hadn't slept. And I'd spent the entire night basically just going over it, over and over and over and over again. And there's an argument that can be made that that's not healthy. But at the end of the day, that is the kind of mentality that makes streams like this exist in the first place. You got to go through a little bit of that hardship, because otherwise you don't get those really high highs. And each one of these episodes has had a really high high. And another thing that I do, and Jem will back me up on this as well, is I'll finish an episode and I'll go, oh man, I was fucking off my game the entire night. My role play was flat and my descriptions were terrible. And then it'll come time for me to edit it, or when I go back and rewatch it again on YouTube, because I love the sound of my own voice, I go, what the hell was I thinking, man? This is gold. This is great. It always sounds worse to me at the time than when I go back and actually watch it. And this is something that I've always had since day one. I've always felt like it's terrible.
It's so funny you say that, because majority of people are the exact opposite way.
Okay. Well, I think that's what sets us apart a little bit. Is
I'm with you. I like to go back and, like, the reason I know most of my campaigns in and out is because after I take notes in the campaign, and then afterwards I'll actually, sometime in the next week, rewatch the episode and retake my notes and sort of organize them into sections.
And that's the benefit of recording and streaming that you don't get when you're just playing at home, is you can go back and you can watch it again. You can be like, oh, like, you remember character choices that you've made, and then they can become relevant again in the next episode or the next episode, because it might not come back, especially with the pace that we're going at. Something that you say in episode 3, it might be 6 months before it becomes relevant again, but you can be like, oh, what did I say? You can go back and watch it, and hey, you remember. It's like the ultimate note-taking. But with each episode being 2.5 hours or so, there is a lot you've got to go through. And at the moment, I'm on the fence, but I might be turning this into a podcast as well. and then you can listen to it
Like
on your
Spotify?
drive home and back again. Yeah, just chuck it up on Spotify, because that's how I listen to all my content as well. I don't actually watch anything on YouTube or on Twitch. I ain't got time for that shit. I got things to do, so I listen to it.
That's why a lot of people love maps, and I know for these ones you kind of have to have maps. I'm a huge fan of theatre of the mind, so it's one of those things that if somebody's just going, you walk into a room, look around, like these ones you kind of have to say what everything is, because you have to like, I want to search that. I like, like when they walk in the room going, hey, you noticed this thing over there looks a bit sus, or something, and they can just go check that out, and you don't have to go bed, table, because it is one of those things. It's like when you read a book like Game of Thrones, they'll walk into a room and there'll be 2 pages. It's like the elk head mounted to the top of the thing is chandelied by colors that effervesce off the wall with the light cascading, and you're like, so it's a room. I get you. So it's a nice room, and it's one of those things that, like, if you've got an hour for a D&D campaign, how much of that hour do you want to spend doing a beautiful description of the room, and how much do you want to spend role playing in that room? And I think it's kind of like the 3 tiers of play. You got to find that balance, which you do nicely. You do a nice description, you allow time to play in that area, a bit of role play, and then we move on. So I like that.
I think as a DM, you should always be describing things. Even if you have a map there in front of you, you should always be describing things as if you were describing it to someone who can't see it at all. And if you go, it's just a room, it's just a room, it's just a room, and then when you come across a room in which there might be something important, and then you go into this description of the room, all of a sudden people are going, oh, hey, hold on, there's something important here. So I think it's important to have some level of description. It also makes the world feel more lived in. So if it slows down the pacing a little bit, I'm going to be descriptive. And I want my players to be descriptive as well. I don't want to hear people go, I walk over there. I don't want to hear that. I'm doing that. Open the door. No, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear some more description, because it's good for the people watching at home, but it's actually good for the DM, me, because I know exactly what you're doing. If you're being specific about if you're specifically describing what you're doing, it's good for the rest of your players, because it encourages more role play. If I say, I'm walking over there, nothing, that's it. That's beginning and end. If I were to say, I slide my sword back into its scabbard as I walk past Tane, I put my hand on his shoulder as I pass him by, I've now given you something that you can roleplay with.
Oh, no, I'm fine. I literally, that was a little of my symptoms coming into play, where you say, if I'm going to walk over there, I'm not going to say I'm going to walk over there. And I'm like, that's exactly what I'd do if I was in real life. I'd walk over there. And that's one of those things. But if I am doing something like sheathing a sword, I'm happy to say that.
And there's a balance.
Just walking from here to there.
You don't want to be doing that all the time. If there's something that is just mundane, you don't have to give a whole paragraph of description of what's happening. And like I said, it's finding that right balance with the group, and we're doing really, really well, but we're still finding our balance between everyone as players and myself as the DM. How much description do I need to give them? How much description are the players giving as well? We're finding that balance, and that sets the pacing.
So, as a DM, between episodes and before we started, what was your breakdown of preparation?
I think I did most of my prep before we started. I had a little bit of time when I wasn't working, so I spent a few days importing maps, going over the book, getting a general idea of the story and the history of this campaign. So mostly at the beginning, it was mechanical stuff, bringing in maps, setting the walls, the darkness, all that kind of stuff, reading the book. In between sessions, And during sessions, even, I am taking copious notes, and I usually spend the Monday sitting down and going back over what I've already made and making those personalized touches that are in response to the things that you did during the day. Or not during the day, but the week before, the episode before that. So I'll usually spend at least a couple of hours on the day beforehand, but it's only a relatively small amount because I've already done so much of the foundational work already before we actually started the campaign. When we started, if we were to run it in a very, very bland way, in which I do a little bit less changing things in response to how you guys play, I would say, I'd had at least 2 months, 3 months worth of content already there. I could run another two months worth of episodes, I think, with what I already have there.
Yeah. Fair enough.
There's always like a balance that you need to strike as a DM. How much prep work is too much? Because it's a pitfall that you can easily fall into and find yourself just plummeting. It's never enough prep. It's never enough. So at some point you have to go, this is enough and no more. And that only comes with experience.
Yeah. So in the campaign we had a body in the chest.
You did.
That I reached into.
Yes.
That was the body of the maid that was following us and trying to kill us.
I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying yes. Yes, it was.
You said maid outfit, so I'm assuming a maid. With that stealth attack, because I understand that kind of creature would get I haven't read the monster manual, but they'd get some sort of advantage. Like, I'm guessing they roll advantage on stealth in dark rooms or whatnot. Are you a little bit shitted off with the 2024 stealth surprise rules?
I have yet to make up my mind about that. I think for the most part, for the majority of people, it's probably going to be a better mechanic, because surprise rules and surprise mechanics can be really, really difficult to get right. Now, we're an experienced bunch of people. We can do it right. But I said I was going to do the 2024 rules, and that says there's no more surprise rounds. And hey, if that's what the rules say, that's the way we're going to do it, and I'm okay with that. For this character,
I was asking, do you feel you missed out not getting a second attack?
I don't feel like I missed out. I feel like you guys missed out, to be absolutely honest.
Well, yeah, I am flat out saying I don't like the new rules. I think it takes away the threat of death a lot more.
It does. It definitely does. But
I think if I was going to redo the rules, I would say that the surprise person loses their turn. So they can only one-to-one, like a grapple. If I surprise you, you miss your turn. Everyone else can still do their stuff. So someone can knock you out of the way or protect you.
Yes. Yeah, and that's one thing that you could definitely, you could do it that way, but then it's becoming more complicated again. And I think the biggest thing that they wanted to do was make things the least amount of complicated. That's why I said for the majority of people, this is probably a better rule. It's essentially they've taken away surprise almost entirely. I
think they're all suggestions. All those rules are suggestions. I will use that one to my heart's content.
Yeah, man. And for your home games, I would recommend still having surprise rounds, because it works for the players and it works for the monster. So it sort of evens out. But like, I think where the change is coming from Wizards of the Coast perspective is you could be accused of being unfair if the monsters got surprise rounds very often. I could be accused of being unfair by giving this particular creature,
I think it's great for Adventures Guild and stuff like that.
a surprise round.
To get upset.
Playing
with people you trust, it doesn't make too much of a difference. But yeah, I agree.
There's nothing in this creature stat block, and this is what I was getting at. There's nothing in this creature stat block that says that it can hide in darkness or anything like that. There's nothing mechanically that says, except for the creature has the ability to move through solid objects. And I was using that as a way to mechanically say that this thing surprises you. It made more sense to the narrative to have this thing surprise your characters. It added to the drama, and it made sense narratively, so I added it into the campaign. Simple as that. That's why I did it, and that was my reasoning behind it, to give it that surprise round, to give it a little bit more impact.
Oh my god, that is weird. Sorry, I literally just brought it up. Traits, incorporeal movement, while in sunlight, life drain. It literally has nothing about hiding.
No, it doesn't.
It sucks.
I don't even think it gets a particular bonus to stealth or anything like that. But I mean, we're talking about a thing here that is translucent and can move incorporeally through objects. Now, it says in the stat block, if it ends its turn inside of a solid object, it takes damage. I might be accused of ignoring that particular rule, and I'm okay with that because it made sense to the narrative. It just, I think, I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and check the book again. I think it all that it actually says is the spectre is in the room, and if anyone touches either the crib or the bones, it attacks. But how would they not have seen it already? Am I going to roll a stealth check and then you walk into the room and the spectre's there? That's boring, isn't it? That's not fun. It's just a monster, and then you go over and kill it. Now, by saying that, you didn't see it, and going by what the book actually says, it made it more interesting. It's like it's like a jump scare. It's a surprise. All of a sudden,
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I have absolutely no notes on that. I thought that was extremely good way of bringing that in.
Yes. It's actually a bit strange in the way that it's written now that I think about it, because it does say in the book, the spectre is in the room. It doesn't attack unless they touch either the bones or the crib. But how could the spectre be in the room unless it's like hidden? So I don't think I was stretching the bounds too far with that one anyway. And if anyone thinks otherwise, hey, you know what? Send me an email. I'd like to talk to you about it.
So I will say the castle, or the model of the house,
Mm-hmm.
I actually did a homebrew campaign, The Face of Change, for Mark and Jeff and that. And in that, I had a little room sitting on top of a pole or a tree stump. I forget what it was. But it was an exact model of the room. And as somebody went up there and had a look of it, they could see the other characters. And when they picked them up, the character would lift up and take crushing damage from the guy that picked him up and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And when we had that house there, and you're like, oh, it's an exact size and replica, I 100% thought that when we looked in the room we were in, there was going to be little us's.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so blown away with that concept, and I was like, I want to find this out. But then when we went in, there actually was all the room and information. So how big was that house? Is that something Tane can carry with him as a map? So have a look at here. Have a look at here. You don't have to tell me, but I'm planning on taking that house with me next.
As long as you want to spend an action putting it down every combat and then picking it back up when you're done, that's fine. No, but what I will say is it's written into the book again, speaks to the quality of writing in Curse of Strahd. You will get advantage on your perception checks now to find any hidden compartments within the room. Now that you've studied it, you've had a look at it, at this thing, and if we go back, in the attic, there is that secret door that leads down into the basement that you guys have already discovered. If you hadn't discovered that yet, that would be the point at which you discovered that. You'd be like, oh, there's a secret door there, and then...
Very cool.
And on top of that, a little bit of look behind the DM screen, as I like to do, for the people who are watching Debriefing. Strahd, you deserve it, you people at home.
You guys are special.
You guys leveled up when you found the secret room inside of the library. The other alternative to that leveling up is when you find the room that you are currently in. That's the alternative to that. So you could get to this point still at level 1.
Oh, God. Yeah, we would have been dead.
Yeah, it would have been a whole different story. All of a sudden, those combats could have been far, far more deadly. But either way, from here on forward, you would have been level 2 regardless of which direction it went. You just got a little bit of extra because you found that hidden compartment just a little bit earlier. So there's 2 checkpoints. One in the library and one in the attic. Either way, you have to go through the attic to get down into the basement.
Yep. Fair enough. And obviously, you didn't say it then, but it's well confirmed I am level 3 now, so...
No, that's not...
No, we said at the start of the podcast.
Yeah, but this is where you have to be able to separate cinema from reality, Mod. You see, like I said, I was just acting a part. That wasn't
and
me.
So am I. A level 3 part. Level 3 part.
You're acting that. I get it. Okay, good. But you're not that in real life. Fantastic. Good.
I'm acting it so well that you might say it's real life.
No, it's got to go the other way around. That's what method acting is. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to check your character sheet before we start next episode. And if there's anything on there that shouldn't be on there, oh boy, you'll know about it.
Oh, yeah. Or I can change it to level 3 and change my hit points and watch everyone react. And then just change it back. Maybe
you can cast a spell that's not on your spell list.
Fuck yes. That'd be amazing. Just watch people's brains explode. This is like, I cast Chain Lightning. Everyone's like, oh, you can't do that. I'm like, oh, you're going to need to watch Debriefing Strahd.
That was What's
Debriefing Strahd? Oh, well, let me tell you. In this age of bingeable entertainment, it's torture that I can't fast forward my own Curse of Strahd campaign. Will someone die? Will dark secrets unfold? Will Barovia ever let us breathe? Luckily, there's a fix. Debriefing Strahd, the ultimate after show for Beckoned Blackest Night, the greatest D&D Curse of Strahd 5e 2024 campaign there is in the world, where we strip back the mystery and maybe some metaphorical trousers to unpack the haunted past, dark destinies, and questionable fashion choices of Barovia's bravest. And if you can't play more Strahd, at least you can talk about it. Debriefing Strahd, because even your backstory isn't safe.
Are you happy? Are you happy you got that one in there?
Yeah, I'm going to cut that a little bit later.
Do you want me to? I can actually do that because I'm recording. I can cut it and send it to you. That way, it's you got it for posterity.
Yeah, that'd be great. You don't have to cut it now. You can cut it later. That'd be great. That's for your Instagram. There you go. Or send it to me. No, actually, because it goes on your YouTube. So yeah, that'd be great. So we had one more question. Let me just find it because I was just scrolling and having fun.
How dare you? You know I frown upon that.
I do. Where the fuck did I save this thing? I wrote so many goddamn questions. Racist questions. Here we go. Now, the last question is for you. And
I would hope so. I'm the only person here.
Well, that's not true. Yeah, let me just find this motherfucker.
Aside from you, of course. But while you're looking that up, I'll vamp, fill the air a little bit.
Thank you.
For those people who are here watching, if you haven't already seen it, we put a casting call out for a brand new D&D 5e actual play live stream that we're going to feature right here on Twitch. And that one's going to be hosted by our very own DM, Mr. Mark Hillman, ladies and gentlemen. And he's going to be running Vecna, Eye of Ruin. We're looking for, I think, 2 more players at this point, maybe 3. So if you've ever felt like you wanted to be part of an actual play live stream, maybe you've always wanted to play Eye of Ruin. Eve of Ruin. I can't even get the title right. Eve of Ruin. You want to play a level 10 character? Send us a message. We'll talk.
As someone that's played in one of Mark's campaigns before for over a year, definitely jump on board. At the moment in my life, I have time for 1 campaign a week. If I had a second campaign I could do, it would be with Mark on this one. So
it's going to be
definitely
good.
Getting quick.
It's going to be awesome. It's shaping out to be something truly special. I just finished work on the overlays for that one, and they are looking, if I don't say so myself, pretty damn fine. If I could marry an overlay, I'd marry that one. So join us on Discord. You can put the chat command !Discord in the chat right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, it might already be too late because those seats are filling up fast. And it's looking like we're going to have a pretty damn good cast. So be fast, be quick, otherwise you're going to miss out.
All right, are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. Am I allowed to talk about your relationship on the podcast? On the stream?
Negatory.
Okay. Sven, in Beckoned Blackest Night,
yes,
character death is both a narrative necessity and a potential emotional landmine with some characters.
Mm-hmm.
As someone whose decisions affect not just the story, but dice affect the story,
mm-hmm.
How will you reconcile the dice when they roll wrong? Like, will there be any hesitation in murdering/murking any of the players? Especially some of them that are having their first time playing in a major campaign like this. Will you take pity on them? Or do you see these losses as tragic inevitability?
You're asking if I'm going to show any mercy to anyone? The answer to that is simple. Absolutely not. If it comes to it, players, or characters rather, not the players, hopefully, characters are going to die, man. That's what's going to happen. I've already resigned myself to that, and I've had conversations with everyone about their characters, and I've let them know, don't get too attached to your character. Well, get attached to your character, but be aware that it's very unlikely that all 5 of these characters are going to make it to the end of this campaign. And we're all adults here. Of course, I expect emotions to run high should a character die, but we all understand that that is a very real part of this campaign. If there was no threat of death, there's no point in running Beckoned Blackest Night at all. If I said I am going to find ways to keep your character alive, I'm not. Because some of the most memorable moments for me as a DM, as a player, have been when characters have died. My character, other characters. I don't want to deprive you guys of that. Will I feel bad about it? Yeah, I will. I make a big show of being a mean DM and wanting to kill your characters. But what that comes down to really is just, it's good for the narrative. To remind you all of the potential of death. That I'm not going to hold back if it comes to it. I want the most important thing, and the thing that I've set out to do, and I've said this before, is to try and get real emotional reactions out of people. I don't want to make people feel unsafe or anything, but I want them to feel sad. I want that. Grace said to me when we finished the last episode, we were 2 minutes away from tears. You know, we ended just in time. I know that it might sound bad, but it's like watching a drama. People do that all the time. I don't want to take the drama out of this campaign by pulling my punches. Will I feel bad for it? Absolutely. Am I still going to do it? Absolutely. Because I don't feel like I'll be doing you guys any justice or your characters any justice or the work that you put in to make this campaign what it is by going easy on you. And I'm sorry, but it has to be equal for everyone. So everyone's character is equally on the chopping block as anyone else's. And I think we're all adults and we're going to deal with that, you know, as adults. And we're aware that that's part of it. And some people have already made backup characters because they know that this is something that could happen. I think anyone who is DMing, who's pulling punches, you shouldn't go out to kill people's characters. Tabletop RPGs aren't GM versus players. This is not me versus you. All right? This is me and you trying to tell a good story together. And death is a part of that story. And the danger is a part of that story. I'm not going to take that away from you guys because I'm afraid of hurting someone's feelings. Maybe I will. Maybe someone will get upset with me about something that I say. But we're adults and we always work in a very kind way to make sure that we're all feeling safe, and we'll work it out together.
Perfect. Well, man, I think that's done it. We've asked all the questions. We've had some fun. So I'm going to say that's a wrap on Debriefing Debriefing Blackest Night, I wrote. This is what happens when I write when I'm typing, when I'm listening. Debriefing Strahd, a review on Beckoned Blackest Night. Huge thanks to Sven, our talented DM, for coming in, peeling back the layers of Barovia with us. Now, people, it's kind of like sitting down with your friends after a D&D game, relaxing and taking your pants off, but without all the awkwardness and staring. So keep your dice rolling high and your hopes of survival low. We'll see you next time.
And don't touch your dice after touching yourself. It's not good for the dice. Where's them out quickly? Good night, everybody. Thanks, Mod, for having me. Make sure you join us on Monday night right here on Twitch, 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time for episode 7 of Beckoned Blackest Night. We might be taking a couple of weeks off after that. We're currently trying to work on an alternative because I'm going to be going down to Melbourne for a couple of weeks. I'm not going to have all of my gear with me, so I won't be able to produce. We'll try and work out something. We've got a couple of things in the works that I think that you should be pretty goddamn excited about.